Hi, I'm Nin, and today we've got a yin yoga class. The purpose of this class is to promote healing, and we'll be staying in positions for 2 to 5 minutes. And alongside them, we will be saying some positive affirmations to promote healing, which hopefully promote some support for the mind, the body, and the heart during the healing process. With that said, we'll probably need, because we're going to be staying in these positions for quite a long period of time, you might need some props. So we've got a bolster, or you could use a cushion if you like, or feel free to use some blocks or maybe some books that could help support you as we remain in the positions for some time. With that said, we're going to begin with our first pose, which is called open wing pose. And what we're going to do is come down to the mat on our bellies, just centering ourselves here, and then bringing our left shoulder and left arm out to the side, and our right hand comes down just above the chest on the mat, and your elbow should be pointing upwards. Now from here, just center yourself in the mat again, and lifting your right leg slowly up and bringing your right foot so that it's on the floor. Now again, just here, make sure you line yourself up again on the mat. Don't push into your shoulder as you do this, just bringing your hips perhaps to the center and pressing down with your right foot on the mat. And this should begin to open your shoulders. And as we lie here, our first affirmation is going to be, I see my current circumstances as opportunities to grow. I see my current circumstances as opportunities to grow. And stay here, repeating this for about 5 minutes. I see my current circumstances as opportunities to grow. And maybe if this gets a bit hard on you, you can tuck your head onto a block so that the stretch is less intense. And maybe you can bring your right elbow down to the mat so that it's not facing up to the ceiling. Just making sure you're always aligned in a straight line. As we reach the halfway point. And slowly bringing your right knee down to the mat, meeting your left leg, and slowly supporting yourself, roll over back onto your belly. And we're just going to push up into a cobra pose and stretch through the back. And before we do that on the other side, we're going to come into child's pose, just briefly stretching the chest out in the other direction. Pressing it down to the floor. And slowly coming up with an arched spine into cat-cow position. Exhaling, bringing the belly down to the mat. Opening the chest, lifting the tailbone up. And now, what we're going to do is come down and do it on the other side. So bringing your belly onto the floor. This time, bringing your right arm out to the side and bringing your left palm to the ground. Once you've got yourself centered, you now bring your left leg slowly up so that your left foot is perched on the floor. Now just align yourself in the center, as we did before, making sure your hips aren't too far back and your bum isn't sticking out. And our affirmation for this one is going to be, I now free myself of self-doubt and anxiety. I now free myself of self-doubt and anxiety. We're going to stay here again for a couple of minutes, just sinking into the ground, opening up the stomach and the spleen meridians, and stretching through the shoulder blade. And as before, if you need some props to support you, put a block under your head, or maybe a bolster, and just sink deeply into this pose. Repeating the affirmation, I now free myself of self-doubt and anxieties. And slowly bringing your left leg back down to the mat, your left knee softly touching the mat, and bringing it out into the center, rolling back onto your belly. And as we did before, bringing yourself into center, so you're zipping down towards the mat, or there's a zip which forms a straight line from your feet to your spine. Push up into Cobra. And just from here, coming back up onto your knees, lifting your seated area. Might do a few circles just to get the blood going again. And then, as we've done this, we're now going to come into our next yin posture, which is lizard pose. So what we'll do here is bringing the palms together, just bringing your right palm into the center of the mat. We're going to bring our right foot out to the side of the mat and the side of the palms. And just heel, toe, outside to the side. And if here you need some blocks, press up onto these and keeping your chest open. If it's within your practice, you might be able to come down onto your palms and just stay here like this, making sure your knee is at roughly a 90-degree angle to your ankle, facing forward, pointing the left toe back towards the wall. And our next affirmation is going to be: gratitude and peace flow through my mind and body like a clear, healing stream. Gratitude and peace flow through my mind and body like a clear, healing stream. Begin to get uncomfortable, remember, you can go onto blocks, or if you feel perhaps you're sinking comfortably into this position, you might be able to come down onto your forearms and just allow that nice deep stretch through your hips. Repeating the affirmation: gratitude and peace flow through my mind and body like a clear, healing stream. slowly from here. If you're not already, push up onto your palms, finding your center and bringing your palms down to the mat if you're on blocks. And just bringing your right foot in, heel toe, putting your palms down, and then bringing the right leg down to the mat into tabletop pose, and then we'll go into child's pose momentarily before we do the other side. And then coming back up, we now have our palms on the mat, and as before but with the other side, we bring our left leg out to the side of our mat and the side of our palms, and just make sure you've got that nice 90-degree angle, and your right leg is pointing to the wall behind you, and just heel toe out. And as before, stretching up, opening your chest and going onto blocks if you need them, or coming down onto the forearms if that's within your practice today. And the affirmation we're going to say is, I love and accept myself as I am. I love and accept myself as I am. Sink into the pose a bit deeper, bringing your forearms to the ground, stretching nicely in through your hips. Slowly, if you're on your forearms, pushing up and opening your chest, and And then bringing your left leg back to meet the right in tabletop pose. And again, you'll just circle around before we come back into our next position. And back into child's pose. Briefly, forehead touching the floor. Sinking into your thighs. And inhaling up into tabletop. We're now going to come onto our backs. So what I'd like you to do is just roll down onto the mat carefully and have your feet out and your arms to the side of you. Now what we want to do is bring your right leg over to the left. We're going to do a pose called banana pose, and it's a really good stretch for the sides of your body, which we don't normally have much of in yang yoga, which is vinyasa yoga, and faster flowing. So what we'll do, as I said, is bringing your right foot to meet the left, and then bringing your arms down to the side of you, the side of your chest. And from here, just scoot your hips out to the right and your head to the left. So you should be forming a sort of banana shape here. And what might help with this is if you bring your right leg over your left and bringing your arms over your head, and maybe just crossing your right arm under your left wrist. And you should really begin to see the shape of a banana and feel a really nice stretch down the side. And the affirmation we're going to say now is, I attract and allow appreciation. I attract and allow appreciation. We're going to be staying here for a couple of minutes, just resting in this restorative pose that should work the sides of your body. And you should feel it nicely in your armpit, all the way down to your hips. Breathing into the areas of tension and bringing your mind back to the affirmation, I attract and allow appreciation. And slowly uncrossing your right foot from your left, unclasping the wrist. Come back into center, bringing your hips over towards the center. And just here, maybe do some windshield wipers with your knees. And just notice the difference on one side compared to the other and how nicely stretched you'll feel. Before we come onto the other side, again putting our feet out beside us. This time bringing your left leg over your right foot. Just bringing your arms to the sides of your chest. And then just scooting your hips over towards the left this time. And then bringing your arms over your head and clasping your right arm, right wrist with your left. Just making that nice banana shape again. And the affirmation we'll say now is, the more love I give, the more I will receive. The more love I give, the more I will receive. We're just going to stay here for a couple of minutes, melting into this pose and stretching out the left side of the body. Slowly uncrossing your feet, uncrossing your arms, unclasping the wrist. I want you to come back into center. And just here, bringing your knees to your chest. Just doing the windshield wiper movement. And then bringing our knees out to the side. Flexing our feet and legs. want you to come into a happy baby pose. So grab either side of your feet and let your knees sink in towards your armpits. And the final affirmation is I'm going to be kind and patient to myself throughout this healing process. I will be kind and patient with myself throughout the healing process. And we're not going to stay here for as long. We're just going to stretch out and open up our hips. And if you want to, because this is a yin class, you might be able to straighten your legs on the mat and keep hold of your toes. Just feeling a lovely stretch down in your calves and hamstrings. I will be kind and patient with myself throughout the healing process. And slowly bringing your knees into your armpits, back into the center. I'd like to go into our final Shavasana pose. Just bringing your arms beside you, palms facing upwards, feet flopping down beside you. And just absorbing all that you've done, all that nice stretching, and how you've worked very hard to promote the healing, both mentally and physically, and opening your heart to this. Breathing in to the areas that might be tense, or the areas that might have become unblocked, filling them with oxygen. Always shepherding your mind back to the present moment. And as you let all the good work sink in, taking another inhale deep into your lungs, filling them with oxygen, and exhale out all the negativity that you may have had before this practice. And slowly wiggling your palms and your feet, begin to come back to the mat. Stretching your palms over your head. We're now just going to roll over onto the side and slowly pushing ourselves up. Taking an inhale, bringing the palms up, bringing them together, bringing the thumbs to the forehead. I'm going to bow and say Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in that practice. I really hope that you'll come out with a more positive mindset. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or offer any comments below. I'd really like to hear from you, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.